Hello everybody, welcome to another FENEX webinar. This time we are with Chris Globe from Building Our Skills and John Ogilvie, who is the ambassador for Building Our Skills. Hello to you both.
Hi Jason.
Hello.
We're going to tackle a number of quite emotive, important subjects with this one because I know Building Our Skills are involved with quite a lot at the moment. And I'm going to let Chris introduce the first subject and we will take it from there. I'll hand it to you, Chris.
Thanks very much. I think just to give a bit of background to Building Our Skills for those who are not aware where it's came from. It came from a conversation that myself and various people in the industry have been having for some time about why does the industry not attract enough new young talent. And I think we just came to a landing that we could keep having this same circular conversation, or we could actually try and do something about it. So we just sat down and had a kind of brainstorm at one point and said, okay, what can we do about it? We recognised immediately that, well, we work in an industry which is fantastic at marketing itself against one another. It's been historically weak at marketing itself as an industry to the outside world. And we recognise that actually what we need to do is to speak as one voice, as one industry. So we brought a number of very big employers together into the same room, which was a bit of a triumph in itself, really, and just threw this question in the air. You know, if we go down this route and introduce this concept of building our skills, making fenestration a career of choice, will you get behind us? And it was an overwhelming yes. And I'm delighted to say in the 18 months since we started it off, that we've got so much employer support and they are genuinely on message and working together. You know, they can have their commercial differences on a daily basis, but actually in terms of getting the industry known, they're really behind it. And it's so important because we've realised that as an industry, if you were to stand on the street corner and ask, or use the fenestration word, people would look at you as if you were from another planet. They've no idea what fenestration is. Whereas at the other end, double glazing historically has had a really poor reputation. Undeserved, in my opinion, as someone who's been in the industry for kind of over 30 years now. But we decided to start to push fenestration as an industry. And we know that we have to compete with industries that are better known and are more advanced in their campaigning than we are. So we created the campaign and have started the journey. And we've set out knowing that to get to the next generation of workers, which is people who are in schools now and get the word fenestration embedded in their head, that's a 10-year journey. And anything we pick up in the meantime through other initiatives, for example, working with the military and bringing those people into the industry who are readily available now as they leave the services, can bridge the skills gap in the short term. But long term, we have to grow our own employees. And I think, Jason, particularly that is the site disciplines of installing and surveying and the factory disciplines of fabrication, where you can put some automation in, but you can't automate everything, and then every other role that comes with it. And as we all know, and John, from your point of view, I've been in the industry for a long time as well, it is a fantastic industry to be a part of, and a lot of people have made fantastic careers in it. And it's those people who are really getting behind the campaign. So that's the kind of basis of it.
If I could just come in, I mean, you talk about a 10-year process, and I think that 10-year timescale is key for other reasons. The industry, we all know the skills shortage we're facing, trying to find people to come in and decent skills amongst them are very hard. But, you know, our industry faces this thing in the next 10 years, 25% of the industry, something like getting on for 750,000 people are going to be leaving it, leaving a huge vacuum of skills, experience, and jobs to be filled. And so if we can demonstrate that to youngsters who perhaps are aware of how much, you know, brickies or plumbers can earn, but say, there's a great career path for you here, and now's the time, get the qualifications, get established, and then, you know, in 10 years' time, you're going to be in a good position perhaps to set up your own business, or, you know, well, you'd be in a senior role, hopefully very well paid, whether it's installing, surveying, sales, we have so many different career paths, all underpinned by qualifications for them to choose. So it's very, very exciting.
I mean, where we are right now, the industry is going through a boom I don't think anyone ever anticipated at all. We are drowning in work to the point where we, quite arrogantly, we don't even have to try. Like, the work is just coming in with minimal effort, which is great news, because obviously the general public is spending their disposable income with us. But we're now in this position, and we've talked about this between us, where installers, are fighting to find the right people to help facilitate that extra work. And this is where the importance of youth, building our skills, getting in front of the right people now. All right, it's and obviously Chris mentioned about tapping into the military or ex-military side of things, where you've got skills readily available. But we have to start planting these seeds now, because when it comes to periods of high demand like we're in now, we need to be better equipped to help bring in that extra work in a far less stressful manner and a much more organised manner, and grow better. That's where I'm at with it.
I think as well, if you look at sort of the budget today, one of the predictions was that unemployment will peak at, I think, 6.5% next year. They were predicting over 11%.
Yeah, it's not as bad as they thought it was going to be.
But it's nevertheless, it's a huge number. And the biggest bulk of those, and it's the European model as well, is the biggest bulk of those unemployed people are under 25s. A lot of them because they've come out of universities with degrees, but that has given them no skills for the real world, and that's a subject we can pick up on. Or they're in transient jobs working in hospitality until they find something better, etc., etc. So now is the time to try and communicate with that group of people and be saying to them, look, you can come into our industry. Most of the people in our industry, they come in and they very rarely leave. Those who commit to it as a career very rarely leave, and they'll all tell you the same. They've had great careers, made great progressions, they've earned well, they've had really fulfilling working careers. And that career path is still open to anybody coming into it now. There will always be windows and doors. And it doesn't matter if the biggest bulk of properties have got double glazing in them now. A huge part of the marketplace now is replacing those with the next generation. Better thermally insulated, better glass, different colours, different materials. So that marketplace will always roll on. We're building glass cities, not only in the UK, but across the world. If that isn't fenestration, I don't know what is. This is it.
I mean, we say this industry is not a sexy one. I disagree. It perhaps wasn't when PVC first came and everything was shiny white. I don't think we can argue that's a sexy thing. But as Chris has just said, there's glass buildings going up everywhere. There's advantages to it. It lets in more natural light. It's better for you as a human being. You get better views of wherever you're looking out. That is fenestration. That is glass. Therefore, there is going to be continued high demand for this part of our sector, in which we need people to help meet that demand.
If you take one example of that, the Shard, we talk about that, and a number of GQA qualified installers worked on that building. And they will dine out on that forever. If you were a part of constructing that iconic structure, every time you see it, the hairs on your neck. It's
pride. You go past that building, absolutely. You can go, I worked on that. And absolutely, I'll tell you, everybody who works in this industry goes past regular houses saying, worked on that, fit windows there, or sold to that. You have a certain level of pride. And it's not just the Shard. It could just be a really nice self-built house, or it could be an old house that you're renovating. It's the interesting jobs you take the most pride in, because you can look back on that on your pictures and go, wow, yeah, that's cool. I worked on that.
That's a typical craftsperson, isn't it? As you say, taking a pride in the work that they do because they know they've done a damn good job. They're happy to, hold their head up high, meet their customers in the supermarket, down the pub when they're open and whatever, not having to hide. Yes, there is unfortunately that element, as there is in every industry, but that's the beast we have to sort of slay and encourage to get rid of it, but concentrate on the positives, of which there are many.
Well, this goes back. Sorry, Chris.
Sorry, John.
No, I was going to say, I mean, Chris mentioned at the beginning where we've got this unfair reputation, sort of this white gold reputation. And, you know, whilst there are elements of that, that's not the entirety of our sector. You know, there's the commercial side, there's the self-build side, there's the high-end renovation side. All the seriously sexy stuff that when you see it on Instagram, for example, you see pictures of the Shard on Instagram, or, you know, a 17th century listed building that you've just retrofit, you know, steel windows into. These are seriously desirable parts of the sector. And I guess, I mean, I know we're going to talk about education, but I guess when it comes to getting in front of your school leavers and your teenagers to show them, you know, fenestration is a good place to be, we can show those kids, look, you could work on this building. You could renovate that listed 500-year-old building. You could help build your neighbour's grand design. How cool is that?
It's fantastic. And I think a big part of that is, as we were talking before, you know, education sector is geared towards sending people towards further education, university. A lot of people don't want to be pushed down that route. You know, you are, I think, by nature, a left side of your brain or a right side of your brain person. So you want to do stuff that's thinking stuff, or you want to do stuff that's hands-on, physical, creative. If we can get into the education sector and show them what the industry has to offer, you've got a ready-made marketplace there who will naturally be excited. Exactly as you just said about the prospect of going, if I could work on the Shard, or I could work on that old building, or I could build that. It's fantastic. It's an absolute buzz. I think for those who've has been in the industry for a long time, my very first interview in the industry in 1985 was with Ray Howe. And I remember very little of it other than the guy saying to me, if you get into this industry, you'll always be looking at windows whenever you're driving.
You do.
And then
you do.
A few years ago, I was fortunate enough to be in the Canadian Rockies, looking out on scenery that you can't imagine.
And I bet you were looking at the glass going,
I'd opened the tilt and turns up, and I was looking at the gearing on the tilt and turn and the hoppy handles. And you know, it is addictive. And I'm not ashamed to say that. You know, it's a fantastic industry to be in.
It is, but Chris, you were looking at this Canadian backdrop, and you were looking at some tilt and turn windows.
Absolutely.
You are a through and through window man.
I am indeed.
Go on, John.
I'm just going to pick up on Chris's point of the education. And, you know, when things are Tony Blair, education, but that doesn't have to mean, in my view, you know, the university trail.
Agreed.
You can be educated in vocational skills which have as much value, dare I say, as a university degree. And I think, you know, the stats over the last few years show that, where in 1985, you know, 15% of school leavers went to university. 2018, it was 49%, 2.3 million going to university. And if they're going to, you know, if you like, dare I say, white collar type jobs or what have you, like that's what we're all lacking. And you know, we have to demonstrate that, you know, vocational careers are as satisfying and rewarding as university.
I don't know where we went wrong, John, because, I mean, and this is successive governments, by the way, coalition, red, blue.
Absolutely.
I've just rammed uni down. I mean, I remember, I'm 32. I've worked in this industry 15 years. I remember I left my A levels a year early. So I left when I was 17. We had the family business. We have a small family business fitting high-end window and door work. And I told them, you know, I wasn't motivated. I wanted to go to work. I've got this opportunity at the family business in windows and doors. And I literally got ignored after that. I was laughed at. They said, oh, no, you need to go to uni. I was like, well, I don't want to. I could have gone. I had the grades, but I wasn't motivated to do so. And as soon as I explained that to them, I was shunned. But it's the best thing I ever did, going to work. And arguably, I learned more life skills doing this job than I argue I would have done had I continued my A levels or university. I would have learned a lot about the subject I chose, but not life skills, which I don't think kids now learn enough of. And this is the other factor, you know, as John's just said there, I mean, that's an insanely high number of kids going to university. And we wonder why we don't have enough tradespeople.
30%. There's a 30% dropout rate at the minute from uni.
Is it as much as that?
Last year? So that's 30% of those 2.3 million, which is 600,000, who are then dropping out.
That's where we need to be hitting at, saying, look, that didn't work for you. Come look at this. It's practical. You learn an education, not an academic education, a physical education, a skills education.
But if you're going to go into vocational career paths, you don't need an academic education. If you've got your English and you've got your maths, you don't need anything else. And why should you have? Because you're going to actually go and create and be a part of the economy, make a living, contribute to the economy. And I think, John, a point that you made before, which I think is really relevant. Our industry is fantastic at people coming in at the ground floor and ultimately owning their own business. And that is a well-trodden career path that I would suggest is not so readily available in a lot of other industries. So it doesn't matter if you leave school and you haven't got the qualifications formal at that point. You can develop other skills and learn other stuff as you go through and make a tremendous living by being in an industry which gives you those opportunities. It's one of the things in terms of building our skills that we're really keen to show is it doesn't matter where you get on the roundabout. You can really work your way through and develop your careers with the right learning, the right support, the right mentoring and the right opportunities and be a real success.
That's the thing also with changes of careers. So as you say, whether you dropped out at university or you've actually tried something else, fine, didn't work out, no harm in that. That's a part of life's learning, as you say, Jason. But we want to encourage them and say, try fenestration, and that's where the ex-military come in again. And I think a lot of schemes have targeted those in the past, but without being able to demonstrate that actually there's the training and more important, as importantly, the jobs as well. Quite often, I think the military have gone routes, they've been trained up and then they've been scratching, trying to say, well, how do I apply this? Well, big tick in the box as far as we're concerned, because there'll be people crying out for your skills.
Absolutely. I mean, personal story. I mean, I know a guy, he was ex-military, put his manual skills to work, and he set his own, I know it's not fenestration, but he set his own landscaping business up. And he does very, very good work. He's learned his skills in the military. He's come out of the military. He was scratching his head, I think, for a little while as to what to do. He turned to a practical trade, and he's never looked back since. And this is the good thing in this country, is you get the freedom to start small, create your own business, build it up, learn another trade as you go along. You get better at what you do, as with most things. And now he's got a thriving business. And what Chris has just said there is the same in here. This country allows people to start their own business, get qualified, learn the skills, and make something of themselves from the ground up. And more often than not, they end up being, you stick around long enough, heads of some quite significantly sized companies, making a very good living. And then therefore creating employment opportunities for other people as well. So we need to get this message out, do as much as we can, obviously via building our skills and the various schemes you're involved with, to get this message to the right demographic. And that right demographic is your teenagers and your school leavers.
There's no doubt, and we're sort of working really hard to do that. We've been involved in National Careers Week, we've been in some local stuff. And a big thing for us is obviously the campaign we've got going, which is Inspiring the Future, which is working through an agency called Employers and Education, whose remit it is from government to introduce the education sector to the industrial sector. So we've got our own gateway on there, and what we're trying to say to the industry is give up an hour of your time. Just anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be company wide. It's just a personal thing. Doesn't matter what your role is in a company, whether you're used to presenting to people or not. You can register for this to volunteer 1 hour, and this organisation will put you in touch with the local school, and you literally go in and you talk about yourself. You tell them who you are, what your job is, what the company is, and what industry you work in. And if we just get 5 minutes from each of these people using the word fenestration and just highlighting some examples of what that is, then we've started the job. And the big task for us is to get as many people from the industry to start signing up for this and volunteering and just starting. This is a long, long journey, and there's no immediate measure of success. The only measure of success is the number of people we get volunteering. And we know that from that, we've started that process. So that is a big campaign for us this year in terms of trying to get people to sign up to join that campaign. And we're delighted that Fencer has taken that on board to be a real driving force behind it as well, with access to kind of 6,000 members or so that they've got, which should really help to drive that initiative forward. But everyone's
yeah, also just picking up what I'm right saying, there's a sort of collateral in the jargon, and there's sort of materials for people going into schools to use so that they can we're getting a consistent view of the industry, if you like, about size of it, and a breakdown, and then those individuals can talk about their own particular corner, and perhaps it'll be a local company that's recognized because of the work that they're doing in the area, and they're known. So again, it's trying to make it as easy for people as possible by giving them the tools to do the job.
How are you finding? Sorry, Chris,
Jason.
No, so I'm going to say, how are you finding the feedback? I don't know if you'll have the numbers or a rough idea of the numbers, but how are you finding the feedback? So have you spoke to people who have been into schools yet and talked to the kids?
Feedback both from the people going in and from the heads and the teachers is absolutely fantastic. We've got no doubt at all that it's going to work. Obviously, like everyone else, we've been hit by the pandemic. There's no schools. It's really, really difficult. And we are talking and looking at putting that online. The advantage of that being that you can be anywhere. But I just remember back to when I was at school, and I think the teachers will tell you the same, the opportunity of somebody coming into the school who's new, who's different, and everyone's looking and what's this about, and delivering a message is really, really powerful. So we said at the start, this is a 10-year program. So let's not worry the fact that we've lost, 8-9 months through the pandemic. That just is what it is. The time is now to start with this process again. We know that it's really well received. And the government agency we're working through, they do it on all sorts of industries, and it gets really great reception. The key for us again is to compete on an equal footing with all these industries and more. And as someone who is from the industry, I think one of its great attractions is the innovative approach of the people, the entrepreneurial, they're really enthusiastic. If we can overlay that into these schools campaigns, then we will stand out. And there's some great things as you talked for the shard or the gherkin or whatever, they really jump out.
But I think it's a key area now, Chris, that you raise there, because we much as we'd like to be able to do this, we can't do this for the industry, for everybody. We're a sort of a catalyst or facilitator. And so, what we're trying to urge is companies, and this is about the complete supply chain from, extruders, raw materials suppliers, extruders, right down the supply chain, components and all the rest of it, and all materials, PVC, wood, aluminium, composites and the rest. So it's for everybody. And but we're saying if even just 10% of the industry would actually use the branding, it doesn't cost them anything. When they're recruiting or saying we're keen to support this, then it creates that awareness and will make everybody's job easier. And then within that, as we've been talking about, there are these initiatives like inspiring talent and others perhaps that we'll touch on. But that's the key. People are thinking, oh, this will cost me a fortune. No, it's a bit of time. And why leave it to the company down the road or in the next town? Somebody else will do it. We're all experiencing the same problems. Where do we find a decent fitters? Where am I going to find a decent surveyor? Well, let's stop moaning about it and actually start doing something about it.
I mean, you mentioned inspiring talent. Let's talk about that now. I mean, we all know we don't have enough people to get the work done at the minute at all levels. We're all booming, but there's not enough time and people and hands to get it all done. But getting into schools, like Chris has said, this isn't going to be a quick fix. This needs a generational change, and you're looking at 10 years. But we've got to get into people now, the people who are thinking about their careers as they leave school, and getting in front of people getting in front of 14, 15, 16-year-olds. Because it sticks with you, because I remember the ones I had when I was 16. It's just everybody who came to my school wanted to talk about which university. We didn't get another choice. It was uni. But it sticks with you. That's the point. If you can get someone to come in and talk, to explain the benefits of our sector, in this case, it will stick with a proportion of the kids you talk to. And if we can get some of those to follow through on that, as what you've just said there, John, don't wait for your competitor down the road to potentially nick a couple of really good apprentices from you. Get signed up, do it now, and then inspire those young people with what you've told them to come and work for you.
Yeah, because busy though people are, and they're rushed off their feet at the moment for all the reasons that we've discussed and things. As Chris says, I get an hour. That's a for some a lunchtime or something like that. It's not a big ask, I don't think.
No, and to be honest, it might be nice to do something different for an hour rather than fit windows. Correct. Or quote windows. It might be a refreshing change to do something different, because look, like I said, we've got a small family-run business, and our days at the moment is just quoting, fitting. I'd love an hour just to do something else, just to talk to somebody else, just to not do the same thing I've been doing for a year. Might like it.
and also, so our industry is great at marketing, it's great at presenting. You think about, let's say, the big extrusion companies, just as for example, all with sales teams. We're talking to a number of those companies about saying, from a kind of corporate social responsibility point of view, why don't you task your sales team to each give up an hour a year in their own local area? So it reflects well on you as a company, it reflects well on us as an industry, and it's local to the individual salesperson. If we could even achieve that, then suddenly we've got 100 ambassadors going into schools across the country. It's a massive starting point.
And it's sort of training their own staff as well in presentation skills while they're at it. They'll have a better team on the back. So, cliche, but win-win-win.
No, well, it is. And this is where the apprenticeship stuff comes in, because if you can get them early, you train them young, and you breed a good culture, those kids stay with you for the long term. So the hour you put in now, or not now, but when the school's open and it's safe to do so, when the hour you put in now, you go to your big secondary school with 2,500, 3,000 kids, you can pick up one or two absolute high quality apprentices for your business because of the presentation you did. You're helping your business for the next 10, 15 years because of an hour that you gave up.
And I think this is the essence of all of it, is that as an industry now, across every job role, we've got to grow our own. We can't rely on people just coming to the door. There's got to be more opportunities than our people. And we've actually got to go and compete now.
Yes.
Sell our industry. Because otherwise, our businesses are not going to hit the business plans.
Well, there's so many more sectors now. There's new and emerging sectors that didn't even exist when I left school, and now are huge sectors to work in. So, the talent is going to be spread more thin in the future. We've got to attract that.
Well, that's where staff retention comes in, isn't it? And yes, investing in the people that you've got, most important asset you have. And if you're taking time and perhaps a bit of cash to invest their skills and things, why would they want to leave? Join the company up the road, because you're demonstrating to them there's a future for them as well. You're committed to them, you're supporting them, and that should be reciprocated back. So it isn't always a question of trying to poach the people down the road, because that's what goes on, and it's just one vast churn. But developing, bringing those people up through your ranks, even a small company, you may only have one team, but you can motivate them as well. It doesn't always have to be cash.
No, it does. No, it helps, but a good culture, feeling valued. Good cash always helps. Feeling valued, a good company culture. We had a good friend of mine. He joined our business when he was 16, got his apprenticeship through us, and got his qualification. He got two actually through GQA. First in service engineering, and then he's surveyor. So he moved up we had a position available for a surveyor. He took his qualifications to be a surveyor, and he decided to move down south in the end. But he was with us for 16 years, and he didn't leave us because of the career. He left us for personal reasons. But he was with us for 16 years, and he started at the beginning with us and got his quals, did his training, did his apprenticeship with us, felt valued, and was a part of the furniture for a long time.
Fantastic.
So it does work. And the other thing is his pride as well. You know, when people go up the ladder from the start, they achieve, they might work on a really big project, or they might get a qualification, or they might improve on the same qualification, and they might hit 10 years at a company. These are significant milestones in a person's career. You earn those, and when you earn them, you take pride in them. You know, you're not just given them, that you don't get pride in stuff that's given. And in this sector, in fenestration, as Chris has said in the past, and you, John, you know, people who start at the bottom stick around. And then when they hit these 5-year, 10-year landmarks, or they achieve a special project, or they get the qualifications, I think there's a sense of pride there that you don't always get in other sectors. That's my own personal opinion anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think it is one of the attractions of the industry to me is it is a real people industry, isn't it? You know, the people within it have a certain personality. There's a feeling that we're all in it together, that we're part of something. It is almost like a huge family. It has that feel to it. And I think anyone coming in, that the part of the task for us as an industry, and again, as building our skills, is to make everyone feel that they're a part of it. And it doesn't matter what your background, what your skill level, what your ethnicity, what your gender, whatever. There's a role for you in our industry. And more importantly than that, I think a home for you in our industry. We can get that message out there. There's something here for everybody. You know, I look at things like IT and technology. And I guess if you're a school-age person and you're thinking about IT, you're thinking about going into telecoms or into banking. Why not come to the fenestration industry? It's as high-tech as any industry that's out there. And it's crying out for more skills. Absolutely. To make it more high-tech. We've got the minute companies developing remote selling tools and apps and this and that. Bring your skills. You know, our industry is the home for absolutely everybody, no matter what your skill set. You know, literally come and join us, because there's something here for you. And once you get in it, you can really progress then.
Go on, John, you want to say something there?
It's very, very innovative. I never say that word, but whether it's product development and all the rest of it. But I think also, as well as these youngsters, we've got the mood music coming out of government is investment in skills, and sadly, post Grenfell, they're looking very carefully at the competencies and skills of companies, but products and companies, to make sure that they're suitable. So again, there may be a lot of people who've been fitting windows, say 25 years or whatever. I think that environment is going to be changing. I think there are going to be more demands to show that you're skilled. And yeah, there's an element of people say, well, I've been doing this for 20 years, 25 years, you know, and I've got to go back to school, or, you know, they feel somehow that's degrading and all the rest of it. But again, if the regulations are going to change and what have you, you know, embrace it and prove to people how good you are, not, you know, just that you've been doing it for so long, because we know that there is an element, you've been doing it for that long, but sadly you haven't actually been doing it the right way. Very small minority. Lots of people do. I know perhaps they do feel a bit patronized and stuff, but I would urge them not to, you know, and embrace this. We don't know what's coming, but there are changes down the line. And
it's coming. I mean, you look at other sectors, you look at gas, you look at electric, you know, they are highly regulated, highly qualified, centered sectors. And you know, whether you agree with it or not, we are in our industry will end up going down that road at some point in, I wouldn't even say medium term. I think it's getting closer to major changes like that happening. Yes, you might have been doing it 20, 25 years, but as John's just said, it's not to be seen as degrading as to go through another course or going back to school just to prove what you think you can already do anyway. It's not about that. It's about raising the overall standard for the entire sector, and you are part of that sector, and you doing that will raise the bar for everybody, which is a good thing. And as John's rightly highlighted, post Grenfell, there is a lot of scrutiny now, not just on, obviously our sector because of the fire door situation, but on all building product sectors. It's right that we learn those lessons, and that is the ultimate sort of worst case scenario, is if we don't do better, bad things might happen. And this is where, going back to the skills thing, if we can get to a situation where we are like other sectors and become a more regulated, skills-based sector, then I only think that's a good thing for everybody.
I think it's a good thing for homeowners.
Yeah.
Sorry, John, go on.
Just to say, with the industry, we need to make it happen now. Otherwise, it'll be foisted on us, and we won't have a choice, and that'll be far worse. So it's demonstrating that as an industry, we're listening, we understand, what government are looking for at the end of the day, and then giving them what they want, and that should be easy from our point of view. Yeah,
we have to be part of the process rather than have it done for us, where it's not shaped around what we think's best. We need to be part of that change so we can shape and ultimately craft what we think's the best way forward. Yeah. Sorry, Chris, you wanted to say something.
Sorry, just going to say that I think, if we have workforces that are qualified and are trained, that has to be better for the homeowner ultimately in terms of giving them confidence. We're talking about installing thermally efficient products here and high security products. They have to be installed correctly. It's always been something that I just don't get, that you've got these people, installers, who, yes, they've been installing windows for, let's say, 10 years. You will only ever have learned on a window and a door. So when a solid roof comes to market, or a 6-pane bifolding doors, why are you qualified to install those high-end products? You're not. You'd almost like to think that you'd want to volunteer to go and have formal training, because then for you as an installer in the marketplace, you can command for your people then going to sell to the homeowner the message that all our installers are trained to install these latest, highly efficient, high energy, high security products. It carries a premium to the homeowner as well in terms of the same. As an industry, we have to professionalize to that degree. And I think generationally, that will happen. So coming back to the subject of building our skills, we've developed a practical training academy at Sheffield. We're in the throes of starting to roll that out as a network throughout the UK, where there's consistency of content and delivery, so that people can learn anywhere in the country. And I think if we get young people coming into that and learn the basics of windows and doors and become a fitter's mate, and then get some experience, and then they come back as they want to branch out to become the lead fitter and have their own team, that's when you learn how to install a bay or a solid roof or a bifold door. That has to be the way. And I actually think that young people see the value of training and qualifications.
Definitely.
In a way that perhaps some of the older ones who are in the industry haven't done. And it's no criticism, it's just a generational thing. But I think this is why building our skills is right, and to add training and qualifications and accreditations into it is a part of the attraction strategy to come to the industry, because they bring life skills as well. Absolutely. They bring skills that you can take elsewhere. And some of the other programs we've got in building our skills, how to understand how a business works. No one else is going to teach you that. So you're learning your site skills or your other skills, and then you're learning about business.
This is my biggest criticism, Chris, about the education system. You've got stuff like this, building our skills, giving people of any age, the life skills about how to run a business. The education system isn't giving people that life skill, which I think is insane. I've never understood the reason for not teaching anybody, whether it's school leavers or older students. Why aren't we doing that? Because there's a lot of small businesses. There's millions of small businesses in this country, and I can almost guarantee most of them have not had formal educational training on it. Can almost guarantee it. But it's such an important life skill. And as what Chris has just said there, you might branch out, set your own fitting crew up, form your own business. It helps to know how to run a business. No brainer.
most people going into business for themselves have had an employment career in a silo. So let's take myself as an example. You know, my career at WHSL, I was a sales guy, and it just came time to start my own business, which was fine. And I could probably at that time have told you anything you need to know about sales. I was into this and that and all the rest of it. On day one of starting my own business, I realised I got not a clue. I did some work recently with the Office of National Statistics, some research, and that's a thing to say. And they were saying after the last recession, 800,000 people started their own business. And they believe post-pandemic it'll be another 600,000.
Wow.
And these will mostly be people who've got a single track career or a single track discipline, whether young or old, they're into one field. Like I say, when I started my business and then was talking to the accountants and he starts talking to me about P60s and corporation taxes, I thought, I got not a clue. No one's ever taught me that, you know, and you have to learn it. So again, I think about part of building our skills is we're developing this fantastic content at the minute that a business works like this, which is for everybody. Because even if you're employed in one of the big extrusion companies and you're in the accounts department, you don't know how the other departments work. You don't know what contribution they make to that business. You don't understand which part of the jigsaw you are. And again, building our skills is about exactly that. It's about building skills. And these are the things that will help the industry become more robust and more talented and will help it to develop. Because we've got to compete as well for the consumer pound and the commercial pound as well. So we need all to be better businesses, but primarily we need to be bringing enough people in to actually keep the industry functioning.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And back to a point Chris mentioned a bit ago, you know, we're not just fitters in this sector. You know, it's a highly, in parts, it's highly automated. The machinery is incredibly complicated, but the big exciting bits of kit, we need people in machinery. Glass makers, some incredible businesses who are growing at a very rapid pace, working in the glass sector, you know, integral blinds, for example. And then you've got IT, you know, there is suddenly out of nowhere this race for software. Out of the last few years, it was hardly there. And then suddenly you've got at least half a dozen, maybe more companies all competing in the software niche within fenestration for all our business. So you've got software, you've got glass, you've got systems companies, you've got engineers, you've got fabricators, you've got transport, and that's just a few. Fenestration's not just fitting windows and doors. It is very highly diversified now.
And it's a really good point. And going back to the conversation about the Shard, we sort of took a graphic of the blueprint of the building and looked at every aspect of it. And realised that there were 15 trades in the fenestration industry that contributed to that, from design, from manufacture to warehousing to deliveries, from marketing, from sales, from installation. You know, that's just one building, a snapshot of our industry. It doesn't matter what your skill is, you can be a part of developing something as iconic on a global stage.
And that's it, like that's the pride. I mean, you think about that now. I mean, I didn't work on the Shard, but I'm excited by the fact I could have. You know, and I didn't work on it, but you know, what if I don't know, helped make the glass that went into the next, you know, mile high building in London? And I can walk past that and go, my window's that.
I did.
Yeah. It's mad. I do. My wife said it all the time. I saw windows to that house, but you take pride in it. You do. You take pride in it. You go past a really nice house, you go, they're mine. You do, you do, you really do. It sounds really sad, but you do.
Jason.
Say that again, John.
I say you must be stopping every 20 yards, you know, the amount of work you do.
Oh, well, you know, yeah. I'm not bad at what I do. And I know we've covered a lot of ground, and I don't want to keep you forever, but for anybody who's watching, John and Chris, who want to contribute, who want to get involved, with this, who's the best person to speak to, or where's the best place to go? What do we all do?
I think for me it's really simple. Obviously visit the website, there's tons of contact forms on there for any different aspects. You can get in contact with us very, very easily. But I think my message to everybody in the industry is this: you do not have to pay money, you don't have to sacrifice a lot of energy, a lot of time, just do a bit. And if the only thing you did was to join as a supporter, which costs you no money, and we'll welcome you on board. And if you then on your social media feed put out delighted to become a supporter of Building Our Skills, that will have an impact because someone else will see it and they might want to do more. This is a campaign for the whole industry. There's no agendas here. Absolutely everybody can be a part of it. And we want everybody in the industry to get behind it and just do as little or as much as you want. But as a minimum, just become a supporter. Just show your goodwill. Just say we're behind it. And that will give it momentum and will help to cascade. We've got some companies and some individuals very heavily involved in it, and that's fantastic. But there's no levels here. You know, we're not saying be this or be that. Just get involved. Just show it some goodwill. We all love the industry. We all want it to prosper. And if we can all just do one little bit to help that and help attract people to the industry, then effort will be worthwhile. You know, just do whatever you want to do. You know, there's no massive commitment.
Brilliant.
John, been running the Love Fenestration campaign. I know that was due just for February, and we were running it on. But I think personally, that's got legs. You know, you don't love fenestration just this week or next week. We've said it's in our blood, but we've been encouraging people to send in sort of 30-second or 1 minute brief videos, really just from the heart, saying what they like about the industry, a bit about the background and all the rest of it. Nothing else. But again, that's collateral that we can put out, show the enthusiasm that there is, and again, it's a way of getting involved.
Great stuff. Well, to all those who are watching, hopefully you found this useful. We are all in this together. Everything we spoke about is for the good of everybody, from top to bottom and in between. So head over to the website, take part in the campaign, show your support in any way you can. Let's make the changes now that we are going to benefit from in the years to come. And hopefully the next time we all have a chat, post-pandemic, we're in a much brighter position, a lot less stressed, with a lot more young, talented people making their way through our wonderful sector. Guys, I think we might leave it there. Thank you for your time, and thank you everybody for watching.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.